Famous TV host Simon Cowell has said many times that he doesn't want to start his own family. But last year, he shocked everyone when it came out that he was expecting a child with his best friend's wife, Lauren Silverman. Well, from falling in love with your best friend to falling in love with your best friend's spouse, that's the situation Simon Cowell is in. In the middle of the scandal, Simon brags about baby Eric on social media, ignoring the betrayal of his long-term friend. Sadly, tragedy struck soon after Eric was born, followed by another personal setback for Simon. And how has it affected his family? Join us as we share the heartbreaking news about Simon Cowell's family. His son Eric was born. The birth of Eric Cowell was a turning point in Simon Cowell's life, changing the TV personality and music executive in ways that few could have imagined. Simon, known for his sharp tongue and unwavering work ethic, had become known as one of the harshest critics in the entertainment industry. Despite all of his success, he had never dreamed of being a father and had no plans to start a family for years. Despite saying on his reality show that having a child would get in the way of his lifestyle and career goals, everything changed when Simon found out that his friend's wife, Lauren Silverman, was pregnant with his child. This shocked both Simon and the public because Lauren was still married to Andrew Silverman, Simon's best friend. Andrew called Simon a reporter for adultery after a short time, but Simon, who had never planned to have a family of his own, quickly got used to the idea of being a dad. According to Simon, Eric's birth changed his life. On the day his son was born, Simon rushed across the Atlantic from an audition for Britain's Got Talent to be with Lauren. Seeing his son be born was an emotional experience that Simon later described as deeply moving. Holding Eric for the first time brought back memories of his late father, Eric Philip Cowell, who had died of a heart attack in 1999. The birth of his son brought back these memories and the love Simon had for his late father, making the emotional impact act of the moment too. To Simon, the birth of Eric wasn't just an emotional or symbolic event, it also caused a big change in his priorities and behavior. Before Eric came into his life, Simon was a hard-driving workaholic and a heavy smoker. But Eric's birth gave him a new sense of purpose and a reason to break free from his punishing schedule. Eric's presence in his life showed him a softer, more compassionate side of himself that many had never seen before. But that's not all that changed. Beyond his professional life, the birth of Eric has also changed his personal and mental health, according to Simon. The emotional connection he formed with Eric made Simon think about how important health and family were. Reading bedtime stories and doing fun activities became beloved parts of Simon's day. These simple, happy activities gave him a sense of purpose that his career never did. Simon's birth of Eric was not only the beginning of a new chapter but also a major turning point in his life. It turned him from a career-driven bachelor into a devoted and caring father, helping him reconnect with the values of love and family, and also helping him deal with his illness. Before the birth of his son Eric, Simon was dealing with a mental health breakdown that no one on TV knew about. He broke down to an unimaginable point. Watch the video to learn more about how Simon dealt with his grief and how Eric affected his health. Dealing with grief, finding purpose, and overcoming depression are all very personal journeys, and for Simon they were marked by extreme struggle and change. The birth of his son Eric had a big impact on his recovery from the death of his mother. Eric's presence helped him get through one of the darkest times in his life after the death of his mother. He lost his mother, Julie Brett, who was the rock of his life and the only parent who raised him after his father died in 1994. Julie Brett was his emotional support and bedrock. After losing his mother, he was depressed and felt like he had no direction. To deal with and fill the void that his mother's death left, he became a workaholic, putting even more effort into his career than before. In an interview, Simon described that time as one of desperate unhappiness during which work became both an escape and a way to distract himself. Because he was still hurting from his mother's death, his work schedule was very strict. He would often work all night and only sleep in the early morning and afternoon. He said it was like he had become a vampire, existing without any real purpose other than to bury his feelings under a mountain of tasks. However, his coping mechanism only masked the underlying sadness. The temporary relief that work provided came at a cost. Simon felt alone and emotionally exhausted, even though he had achieved a lot of success and fame over the years. He was deeply unhappy with his work, because it no longer gave him the satisfaction it used to. It became a painful reminder of how lonely he was. Then something happened that helped him deal with his grief. Eric was born. At first, Simon was nervous about becoming a father, but Eric's birth gave him a new sense of purpose and vitality. Suddenly, Simon had a reason to get out of bed in the morning and fight the darkness that had enveloped him. In an interview, Simon said that Eric saved his life, explaining that activities like feeding Eric, reading bedtime stories, and playing together brought an unexpected but welcome boost to his grief. Although he wasn't aware of it, the little boy's innocence and joy were healing balms for his father's grief. Watching his son grow and experience life for the first time reminded Simon of the beauty and value of the present moment. Hearing Eric's laughter gave him a daily reminder of what it meant to be alive. Even though he wasn't fully over his mother's death yet, Eric's presence gave him a new perspective on life. As a father, he had to be present and involved in everything from changing diapers to bedtime routines. Simon slowly but surely got better from his depression as he wanted to be the best father he could be. Eric's influence went beyond just taking his mind off of his grief. His son became a symbol of hope and a reminder of the cycle of life. While Simon would always feel the pain of losing his mother, Eric's birth taught him how important it was to cherish the relationships that still mattered. Through his son, Simon found a way to reconnect with the world and rediscover the joy of living. He learned to balance the pain of loss with the love and joy that Eric brought into his life. Some of Eric's actions led Simon to find healthier ways to deal with his feelings. Instead of burying his feelings under a mountain of work, he started to focus on activities that fed his soul and body. He started putting his health first for his own sake and for Eric's. Being a father required Simon to be at his best, which inspired him to make meaningful changes. He got help, made time for self-care, and adopted a more balanced lifestyle. In doing so, Simon learned that while grief never really goes away, it's easier to deal with when it's balanced with love and purpose. Eric's love for Simon, who had felt like nothing mattered before, grew stronger as they shared more experiences. The love between a father and son helped Simon heal, not by erasing the grief, but by giving him the courage to face it and find joy in life again. The grief that had seemed unbearable became part of Simon's story, but it no longer defined him. Instead, it became a chapter in a story full of love and hope. Things were getting better for him emotionally until tragedy struck again. This will make you cry. Keep watching to find out about Simon's near-death experience. Simon Cowell's near-death experience in 2020 was a turning point that made the TV mogul rethink his priorities and what really mattered. Known for his unwavering dedication to his career and relentless work ethic, Simon had long been seen as a giant in the business world. But the terrifying accident that year changed everything, making him realize how short life is and how important it is to cherish loved ones. The near-death experience happened when he was riding his electric bike at home. In an instant, he lost control. He broke his back in a terrible fall. The injury was so bad that it almost paralyzed him, and the pain was unbearable. He would have to go through a lot of physical therapy and make big changes to his lifestyle in order to get better. The accident sent shock waves through Simon's life and the lives of those closest to him, like his partner Lauren Silverman and their young son Eric. It was a brutal reminder of how quickly things can change, and it left Simon and his family dealing with fear and uncertainty. Lawrence Silverman, who had been there for him through many ups and downs, became his unwavering support. During this tough time, when Simon had to go through months of rehabilitation, Lauren's role as his rock was essential. The experience not only tested the strength of their relationship, but it also showed what partnership and commitment really mean. Lauren's commitment to Simon's recovery showed how strong their bond really is, showing that love can survive even the hardest challenges. She stayed by his side, encouraging him and giving him emotional support as he faced the huge physical and mental challenges of his recovery. The accident not only tested Simon's physical limits, but it also made him think deeply about his life. Simon had been living in the fast lane for years, putting work ahead of almost everything else. His relentless drive for success meant he often spent more time at work than with his family. However, the accident woke him up. It made him think about his priorities and the balance between his professional life and personal well-being. As he lay in the hospital recovering, Simon realized that his near-death experience was more than just an unfortunate accident. It had deeper meanings. He realized that no amount of fame or success could replace the joy of being there for his son Eric, or the value of nurturing his relationship with Lauren. He was scared to death when he realized how close he had come to a much worse outcome. As if losing his mother and having an accident that almost killed him wasn't enough, the Cowell family recently received a heartbreaking message that made A few years after Simon recovered from his almost fatal accident, the sudden and heartbreaking death of one of his beloved mentees hit him hard. Liam Payne, a former member of the globally successful boy band One Direction, died in October 2024 when he fell from a hotel balcony in Buenos Aires. His death shocked the music and entertainment industries. Fans, friends, and family had to deal with the sudden and heartbreaking loss. Simon Cowell, who created One Direction and was a big part of the band's success, became close with all of its members, including Liam. When Simon heard the news, he told Liam, "I am devastated by your death." Simon and Liam met on the set of The X Factor in 2010, where Liam, Harry Styles, Louis Tomlinson, and Zayn Malik were all contestants. Each of the boys had potential as solo artists, but Simon thought they would be stronger together. He then organized the formation of One Direction, a decision that would change the lives of all 5 young men and create a cultural phenomenon. From that point on, Simon became a mentor and a guiding force in the boys' careers, watching them grow from hopeful teenagers to international superstars. Liam's death hit Simon hard, bringing up painful memories of loss and grief from his own life. It was one of the most heartbreaking reminders of how fragile life is, and how painful it is to lose someone close. Simon saw how Liam's death affected his family, friends, and former bandmates. The members of One Direction had an unbreakable bond that was formed in the fire of fame and the intensity of their shared experiences. Simon knew that Liam's death would permanently scar each of them and the wider One Direction family. Liam's death also affected the millions of fans who had followed his career and hoped for his happiness. As Simon grieved, he thought about how Liam had affected his short but amazing life. Liam used his fame to entertain and speak out for important causes. Liam's death felt like an abrupt and senseless end to a journey that had so much more to offer. Simon and his colleagues in the industry expressed their deep sorrow and shared fond memories of Liam. Simon's public tribute showed how much Liam had affected his life and the industry. He spoke of Liam not only as a talented artist, but also as a person who had touched the lives of those around him, including Simon's family. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, click the next video on your screen and you will enjoy it.